And off we go. So this is the Central Park Classic, hosted by the New York Bike Lawyers. First race of the season. This is the men's Cat 4-5 field. Pretty crowded field today. About 62 people signed up. Not sure how many people actually showed up, but everyone's eager to stress their legs. First race of the season. Got a couple of teams represented here today. Pedal Power, couple of CRCA guys, a couple of guys from Rubber and Road. QCW came up all the way from Philly and Pennsylvania. Also a couple of NYU guys here as well. And this race was actually cut short by 1 lap, so we had a late start. Everyone was waiting for about half an hour before the race actually started. That was how long it took before the Central Park people deemed the course to be safe enough to race. So everyone was just standing there. It's about 26 degrees Fahrenheit this morning during the race, so everyone's standing there in their race clothes ready to go, just shivering. And here in the race, we were kind of slow pedaling, and I thought, I'm still cold. I want to warm up a bit, so I sent an attack up. Obviously, I'm not trying to make the breakaway. I know this attack's not going to stick, but I'm just trying to get some heat into my legs and into my body, because we've been standing around for God knows how long, right? And this is my first bike race, so it was a pretty interesting experience, riding in the bunch, seeing everyone. I have been training since around August. I've been watching a lot of Dylan Johnson videos to make sure I'm doing the right stuff, I'm not wasting time, right? I've been watching a lot of NorCal racing videos to make sure that my race strategy and learning from other people's mistakes as well. So yeah, just wanted to have this footage and see how this race pans out. So you can see here I'm already getting caught by the QCW rider on the left here, which is expected. I wasn't trying to start a breakaway this early or anything. And I think, if anything, I don't have a back camera to look back here, but if anything, maybe my attack did speed up the pace a little bit at the start of the race, and yeah, got some heat into everyone's legs. This guy just absolutely rips it. Maybe had the same idea as me. I think, you know what, maybe I'll chase him down. Let's give some effort. So yeah, definitely not a slow start to the race. And the course today, there's some construction near Harlem Hill, so the bend leading up to Harlem Hill, it's more narrow and it can get pretty sketchy, especially in the men's Cat 4-5 field. A little sketchy, a little crashy maybe if we were to go there. So they've actually made a detour, and we're cutting through the shortcut, the bypass at 102nd Street. Bit of a bummer. I do enjoy climbing. I'm decent at it. But it is what it is. And I'm coming up to the turn here. Not really sure what to expect. Just kind of hoping I don't get rear-ended. And yeah, we make it through okay. Pretty happy to be in the pointy end of the race at this point, although I am eating win by not being in the draft, so putting in a small effort back there to try and catch up. A couple guys looking around, and I actually didn't realize this, but it was actually here that the race was kind of lost. So this race on this day was won by a solo breakaway rider. You can see him coming through on the left here. And I actually didn't realize this until I watched this footage. So he comes through first to the corner, he absolutely rips it up this hill, and yeah, we can't catch him. And at this point, it's still super early in the morning. Like, this race started at 7:15, so I was not really aware that this was happening. You can see we're kind of looking around. I was just trying to find a wheel to sit on at this point, and try and catch my breath a little bit, but I think these other guys realized what was going on, that this guy had, sent this attack and he was up there. And we put in, I guess, a little half-hearted attempt to catch him. But yeah, you'll see eventually that it's really futile. And actually, the way I realized this is actually I went on Strava after the race and I checked the winner's time and I compared it against mine, and I was like, why is this guy's time 4 minutes shorter than my activity time, right? And I try to look at his power, look towards the end, try and see what his sprint numbers might have looked like, and I was like, wait a minute, he was actually reducing his power at the end, so there was no sprint. And I look back at this footage and I was like, he got away on the first lap, and we never were quite able to catch him. So that's a bit of a bummer, something for me to look out for in the next race. Anyways, we're just kind of rolling through Central Park here. You'll notice the park is still quite busy at this time of day, this early. There's still joggers. New York City really is the city that never sleeps, so you can see that here. It's about 7:15 a.m. around this time probably. And yeah, I'm just trying to catch up to this front group right now. Just eating wind, trying to catch up. And that's kind of the story for a lot of this race, I think. I think being a new rider, being new to racing, well, not a new rider, I've been riding for quite a number of years now, but new to racing for sure, and maybe new to riding in packs this large. I'm maybe not as comfortable sitting on wheels, maybe not as aware as I should be of when to really hop on it so I can stay on a wheel that I'm behind. So things to look out for, and part of the reason I'm kind of reviewing this footage and uploading it this way, so I can hopefully learn from my mistakes and maybe show others who might be interested in racing like this. I think I'll fast forward through some of this footage. It's not super exciting the whole way through. I think here you can really see that we've just given up bringing back that solo breakaway rider, and we're just doing our own thing, trying to I guess rotate out the front and also trying to conserve as much energy as possible, right? You can see parts of the trail definitely are more narrow than other parts. So just having that awareness of your surroundings is super important. It definitely helps riding in the park during training rides. So I'm pretty familiar with this course, but of course it's pretty different when there's 60 other riders racing against you in this field, in this pack. Look at that sunrise, it's just something else. So I'm back at it, eating wind. I decided to soft pedal for a little bit and try and find some space, put the power, and not feeling that wheel, so try to make something else happen up here. And that's something else that I've found pretty interesting is, you really gotta find these gaps and slot into them. Sometimes you gotta be a bit aggressive, or else someone else will fill in a gap that you were hoping to fill in. So the defining feature on this course, because Harlem Hill is being bypassed, is now Cat's Hill. So this is kind of the biggest elevation on the course, and it's also happens to be a start-finish line. I think on this climb, another rider bumped into my wheel, and let's let the audio play.
Come on, man! Jesus Christ!
Not really sure what happened. I was kind of doing my own thing, but things happen. It's a Cat 4-5 field. It is what it is. And I'm pretty tired at this point. My heart rate sensor decided to not connect to my flight computer. I didn't realize this until the race was starting. So I guess in that half hour of waiting around and in this freezing cold doing burpees and jumping jacks trying to stay warm, my heart rate monitor said no more. It's not connected to your bike computer. Bit of a bummer because I would have really liked to see how hard I was working during these efforts to kind of gauge how I should pace myself for future races. Here I'm in the pack. It's pretty nice. Definitely a huge difference from eating the win, not in the pack. And this race was super surgy. It was really felt more like a crit. And I think maybe that was because of the rolling hills within the park itself. And also, obviously, to take the detour around Harlem Hill, there was those two sharp corners. So, a little crit-like. I think a lot of people expected more of a rolling road race type of event, and that just didn't happen to be the case. I think I wanted to try and stay near the pointy end of the race to avoid that kind of rubber banding effect, and also try and minimize my chances of getting caught up in a crash if there is a crash. It's a pretty narrow gap there. I just squeezed through. I made it work. I don't know why I'm hand signaling. It's not out on the road. I try to pick a line, stick with it, and then power out. I think this guy tried to go around this guy in the white and wasn't too happy that I was there. But it is what it is. And make up a couple wheels going into the corner. And here we go. I think riding through the city and commuting by bike definitely helped with cornering, with those bike handling skills, because I do find myself making up quite a few wheels at each one of those corners. And up here, I think we're passing the women's field. They're on the right up here. So their moto has neutralized their pace so that our group can pass. I think around this time, the group really found its pace, found its stride. I think we've all forgotten that there's a solo breakaway rider, and I decided to send another attack because I was like, why are we, going kind of slow here, guys? I wasn't really on any wheel, so I was eating wind regardless. And I think other people have the same idea, so this guy sends one, and I try to hop on his wheel. Talking to other people after the race, they did mention that the Cat 4-5 field ended up getting split in two. I'm not sure if that was referring to the solo breakaway rider and everyone else, or if they were talking about, a front group of Cat 4-5 riders and then another group of Cat 4-5 riders that got dropped or got lost through the rubber banding effect near the back. I prefer to stay on the pointy side of the race just so I have a little bit more control over the pace, and also avoiding any accidents or that rubber banding effect. Got a random e-bike on the race course, Yeah, I really wasn't sure about how I would do coming into this race. I was sick for 2 weeks with some kind of disease. I think it was walking pneumonia a couple weeks before this race. So, you know, ended up not training, lost a lot of fitness, and then when it was time to train again, it was 2.5 weeks out from this race. And it was just really painful to, you know, to know that I had lost fitness and my workouts that felt okay to me before were now really hard. And also knowing that, you know, I had a race coming up. First race of the season, no less. But yeah, pretty happy with how I'm doing so far, but definitely not feeling great. Was not feeling great at this point in the race. We don't have my heart rate, so we'll never know for sure. But I do remember feeling not great during certain points, you know, when the pack was swarming around me. Because I did want to avoid that as much as possible. But it is what it is. We'll fast forward through here a little bit. Not too much exciting things happen in the next couple of laps. Just really good pack riding, good wheel finding, not a lot of drama. Coming up to the sharp 90-degree turn again. And touch of brakes. We're 4 abreast, I think, at that point. We all make it through. I power out of there because I want to stay out of trouble. QCW guys did a really good job of staying together with their teammates. It was pretty hard to pick through the pack, I sometimes found, so big kudos for that. And on the second 90-degree corner, a little bit further back than I wanted, and I think a little sketchy around the outside of that rider. I think the other rider wanted to use the whole road, but I was trying to go around the outside of him. We'll fast forward a little more. It's pretty drama-free, pretty uneventful next couple of minutes. I also try to drink water during this race, but it was so cold. I think either my fingers were too cold and weren't functioning as well as they could be, or my water bottle was more stiff than usual from the cold, but I could barely squeeze anything out of my water bottle, so I didn't try. And honestly, it was cold enough to not really feel thirsty. Like, it wasn't like I was sweating everything out. This guy absolutely rips it up this hill, or the lead up to this hill. People follow. Yeah, like I said, this race was pretty surgy. People weren't sitting back, just trying to suck wheels. Also, a lot of people just eating wind like I was. So, here we go. Lead up to Cat's Hill. We've got a car on the course. How did this car get out here? Still just absolutely eating wind, but it's fine. The hill is a great equalizer. corner for the last time. Make it around. Taking the outside line once again. And we're through. So now it's just about conserving energy to the end of the race, so we'll kind of fast forward here a little bit. This is where things start to get a little interesting. This guy, there's some bumping in the pack. This guy sends an attack. I think about following, and then, you know, we're too close to the finish for that, so hop back behind this guy's wheel. Shout out Redbeard Bikes. Seems like this guy's a better wheel to hop on, so I go for it. Yeah, the pavement is just absolutely horrible in this part of Central Park. There's salt on the ground, there's horse shit on the ground. Really fun times. Here I am eating a wind again. Luckily, Redbeard Bikes comes to the rescue. Thank you for that. There's a drop rider, I guess. And there's some wet horse shit. Great. This guy. Yeah, there's a buggy in the middle of nowhere. Talked to Redbeard Bikes afterwards, after the race. He said, yeah, sorry man, I zoned out. I don't blame him. This early, this late in the race. Don't blame him at all. So just a couple more turns to the finish line here. This is where things really get spicy. So everyone's trying to fight for space, trying to position themselves the best for a good finish for that sprint. So I come down to a field sprint. So everyone's kind of bunching up. This is where, you know, I'm anticipating a little bit of trouble. So I try and stay on the outside. Make sure I have a bit of an exit. There's Redbeard again. And we're coming up to the line here. Something happens up front around here. So I'm getting ready for my sprint. I guess everyone else is. And there you go. Bikes on the ground, bodies flying. Oh man. But I dodge it and launch my sprint. So, you know, like I said, it's an uphill sprint, which I enjoy. Sprinting from the hoods though, so that's no good. But I'm just trying to jump everything, empty the tank, and across the line, finish 6th. So not bad for my first race. Pretty happy with the outcome. Yeah, looking forward to Prospect Park in 2 weeks and to making more of these videos.